Hello everyone, my name is Daniela. I'm the founder and curator of This Thing, an editorial platform for nurturing creativity. I'm very excited for today's interview because it's actually the first video interview of This Thing. I'll be doing more of this, and you can stay tuned by following me on Instagram at this underscore thing underscore 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 and by subscribing to the newsletter on the website as well, so you can get everything on your inbox. Today I'm interviewing a fellow animator. We're going to talk about life, inspiration, about having multiple passions and how to deal with that, and also about being a woman in the creative industry, any creative industry. So I'm very excited and I really hope you like it and inspires you. Bee Grandinetti is an independent director, designer, animator, and illustrator from Brazil. She is also one of the founders of Funimation, a directory and community of equally driven women, trans, and non-binary friends within the animation industry. She's worked in amazing projects like The Wisdom of Pessimism and had all kinds of professional experiences with agencies and clients like Wanderlust, Google Creative Lab, and the Bland Festival. She's a multidisciplinary, full of passion creative, driven by experimentation, fun, and curiosity. Hi, Bee. Welcome to This Thing. I'm so happy that you're here and that we're having this conversation.
Yay, me too.
So let's dive in. Let's try to keep it short. I want to respect your time. So let's do it like this. First of all, for people who don't know who you are, can you tell us a bit about your journey and how did you came into the creative world and yeah.
Yeah, so I'm B. I'm a Brazilian born and raised designer slash animator slash, I don't know, yeah, illustrator. And I grew up in Brazil and I studied graphic design for 4 years at my university, which is called UEng. Ewing. Like I'm trying to do it's like something in between English and Portuguese. It makes no sense, but it's the state university back in my hometown, Belo Horizonte, and I studied graphic design for 4 years, and then around I think my third year of graphic design, we started having like a little bit of contact with motion graphics, and I fell in love with it, and just did like this crazy 6 minute motion graphic piece as my graduation project, and it was this like horribly animated 6 minute video about sexual taboos for girls. And I mean it's horrible, but I'm still like super proud of it, of how much I worked hard back then, even though I knew nothing about animation really. And it still felt really really nice because I put it out, and then there was like a bunch of women and just people writing me like, oh, thank you so much for this. And it really like just opened up my mind about these topics and blah blah blah. Like it was just like a really rewarding process, and I was so hooked about just moving images and motion and all of that. But then weirdly enough, I took a funny detour and went to Sao Paulo and worked with keynote presentations for a year and a half. Which, it sounds really boring, but it was actually really nice because it was for a company that they do like research for bigger companies about like branding strategies and how to reach out to different audiences and all of that. And I would design this like 200 slide keynote presentations, and it was super challenging in a sense that like how do you keep someone focused and interested in a 5 hour presentation? And
That's insane.
yeah, and it was like a lot of in a way that's kind of like learning bits and bobs about storytelling and loads about typography and layout and just composition and all of that. And they would give us like loads of creative freedom on the designs of the presentations, so and they were all like actually beautifully designed, so it was a really fun job. But
How did you do that?
so that was from 2012 and 2013, I think. So like a year and a half.
Okay, okay.
And so obviously, like after a year and a half of doing that, even though it was really fun, I kind of got sick of it. And I thought, well, I was all, pumped about motion graphics, and then I took this super weird detour, and I didn't give motion this proper chance that I should. And then I decided to drop everything, and I've heard of this school in Sweden, in Stockholm, called Hyper Island. And it's important to say that, like, I was really, really lucky in a sense that my parents could support me and, pay for the fee and pay for my whole year when I was in Stockholm, because when I was in Sao Paulo, my salary was pretty horrible, and I was working like a crazy person, like freelancing all weekends, having almost no social life at all, just to be able to pay my bills. And I would have never been able, just to save up money. I have like zero savings, uh, and I would have never been able to send myself to Stockholm and to study motion. So I was super super lucky, very privileged that my parents just could afford to make the investment. Yeah. So that was really really it was awesome. And it was like a mental year in Sweden because I mean you're also South American, so
Yeah.
you know how it works with the whole jump from tropical weather, and then suddenly you're at the other side of the world. And I never even seen autumn before, because Brazil is just like variations of summer.
Yeah, it's a very big contrast to come to a season country.
Yeah, proper seasons and snow, and I mean not only the weather,
And of course, like a lot
obviously,
of
yeah, yeah,
darkness as well.
but not, yeah, like the people. Like I think Sweden is very culturally different from Brazil as well. Like people, the way that people make relationships and all of that. Uh, so everything was like the most out of my comfort zone I've ever been in my whole life, and super intense, but also really amazing year. And I met crazy talented, amazing, kind people at Hyper. It was like, I think we had, honestly, I think we had one of the best classes at Hyper. It was a very, very lucky year to be in, because there was like loads of international students from all over. And it was just like such a lovely, amazing group of friends.
That's awesome when these things get combined and like all the circumstances and the people is the right match and everything just fits together. It's just great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really lucky. Like, I'm still really good friends with a lot of them, actually. And yeah, and then I just had like a bunch of. I became like queen of internships afterwards. Just doing like a lot of internships at different places. And I had. My first internship was in Stockholm at Brick with. Back then it was just me and a bunch of boys, and they are super, super nice boys. Very kind boys that, just taught me a bunch of stuff. It was great. And then I came to London after my second internship, which was at Blink Inc., which was, again, like, I think it was great because, like, all the three internships that I had, they were very different from each other. Like, for example, Blink is more like a production house, sort of. Like, they signed a lot of different directors that are specialized in different, disciplines, like stop motion people or live action and 2D and 3D. And then, like, the kind of work that I would be doing would be super varied. Like, one day I would be just doing like 2D stuff, the other day I would be painting backgrounds, and then the other day I would be at a proper, set and helping out, just running around and helping people. So it was so cool just to get in touch with all of those different things, and like, oh, this is fun, but this is really fun too, and just experiment all of that. And yeah, and also like get to meet an insane amount of talent because of all the different projects and different people that I would be meeting all the time. So that was really mental. And then the third internship was at Animate, which I think it was like almost, when I found myself a bit, because I felt like I was at Disneyland, and I was just like having so much fun. They would give me, a lot of little challenges for me to, try. Oh, can you try to make like this walking cycle or this, or this or that, and like tiny briefs just to for me to develop really. And they are crazy invested in their interns and really, follow through and make sure that, we're developing and doing and feeling, feeling fulfilled and feeling that we're learning and all of that.
And they were also guiding you, I guess, and teaching you stuff, or it was more like do this, and how was the dynamic with them?
I mean, it was both. It was like I had this supervisor who's called Russell Etheridge. He's amazing animator and amazing person and a friend overall. And he would just like, just be, of course, like sometimes I would be working on real briefs from real clients and helping them out with projects. But whenever it was like a bit of a downtime and maybe they didn't have anything for me to do, Russ would make sure to, come to me and like, oh, can you, what if you try to do like this four-legged animal walking cycle? I think it would be really good for you to practice. And then just give me like loads of feedback. And I think that back then it was like when I was, and also because I was doing character animation most of the times, like Animate is really focused on that, like really characterful, you know, animations. And I think it was when, yeah, I was just learning loads about that and just like being a little sponge and sitting down beside people that are super, super smart. I was impressed by, how much they know of what they're doing. Like they're really super smart and smart solutions for how to deal with things. And I was just learning like crazy, like exponentially.
How old were you in that moment?
So that was 2015, which is 4 years ago, which I was 25, I guess. Because I'm 29 now. Sorry, I'm trying to do the math on the spot. So yeah, I think I was 25. And then just after that I started to freelance.
So then you decided like 2D character animation. That's it, or how was it?
It was, I guess, not like a very, conscious decision. It was more like, oh, I'm really, because I think that I got so interested in character animation because I think it's really challenging. It's really, there's something like it's really hard, like I like motion graphics stuff as well. I mean, I like all things. Like I like 2D effects. I like a bunch of things, but I think that character animation brings the whole layer of, acting and staging and all of those things that you I don't know, yeah, it just feels like really fun, and there's a lot of like subtleties and emotions, and it's just like it's challenging, but it's also like a good challenge.
Yeah, definitely. And also it becomes addictive, right? Like in a way when you are also like, I don't know, feeling something or you're doing something, you start thinking about how would I animate this, or like, oh, I'm anticipating, oh.
Absolutely. And like I think I talk about that with my husband all the time. I feel that since I started to do more character animation, I've also became a more expressive person myself. Like, just with my emotions, because like I've always been doing a lot of people watching, but I think that since I started to do more character animation, that grew up. I'm always watching people and what they're doing and what they're doing with their hands and their tone of voice and their like mannerisms and all of that. I'm a really annoying person to be besides, because I'm gonna notice like all your mannerisms and make fun of them
Damn it.
and just make you like really self-aware of your mannerisms. So it can be really annoying.
Then you draw people and like show them their
Yeah, this is you. This is your big nose and stuff. No, yeah, so I was reading this book about body language, and I really want to study acting this year a bit more as well. Uh, but I just started to notice, tiny things about body language on people, and just instant, honest reactions to things. I think I might be getting a little bit creepy on the way that I analyze people.
be careful.
Beware. If you meet me, beware.
That's what's animation. I mean, that's our life. I mean, if you want to really recreate that in a character, and I think especially useful when you're animating a character that is not realistic. Like right now we just finished animating these characters that are completely abstract, and you have to find in those in their world, how do they express sadness or worry, or how do they scream, because they are not humans. So it's hard enough to find it in humans, but then in you can project that to these other worlds that we are working on, right? So that's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I find all of those things fascinating, and I think I'm overall like just really drawn to people. Like, even I love taking pictures. Obviously, very amateur, but I just love it. And then most of my pictures is just like people in the middle. There's something of me that is really drawn to humans for some reason.
You're a human.
Sorry?
You're a human.
Yeah, well, I mean, humans and plants. I guess if you go to my Instagram, it's gonna be like mostly humans and plants.
That's a very good combination.
But yeah, so I've been freelancing ever since. I did a quick 1 year break at Google. They had this section of Google called Creative Lab, that they do this program called Google 5, that every year they pick 5 people from different disciplines to spend 1 year at the Creative Lab. So I was doing that for 1 year, and then last year around June, I just came back to freelance. And yeah, that's a really long summary. I'm sorry.
Talk a lot. No, it was actually nice. No, I actually want to know more, but let's try to keep it short. So from all you're telling me, I feel that you are a very multi-passionate creative. You play the ukulele, you like acting, you like pottery as well, and inside the animation world, you like character animation. So how do you choose what to focus on when you have so many passions, or do you work of everything at once? How do you manage that?
That's actually a problem. I don't focus at all, and it's definitely something to learn. Hopefully, getting better this year. I just do everything at once, and my husband and my friends actually, they're always complaining because I start 100 things and then I finish two of them. I'm really, really good at, I don't know, just go to the shower and I get like 100 ideas, like, oh, maybe, but this would be fun, then this would be fun. And then I guess I have around, I don't know, like 5 projects at the same time that are half baked or. So it's yeah, another thing to, it's something to get better for this year, like finishing things.
You feel that's a problem, or is it a way? Is it just the way your brain works? Like you need to have a lot of things, and then like naturally you select what's more important. Or
I think it can be a problem in some cases, because like I think that I'm very might be slightly get a little bit like obsessive about things, and like get really, oh no, this needs to be perfect, and like really polishing it to the max. And maybe that's a big reason why I don't finish things, because it's never good enough. But I think I just need to educate myself that, or just repeat it to myself as a mantra, that like done is better than perfect. Because it's also like, it's so good to put stuff out, like just the project that I did with my husband that we were talking about. Like I've started so many things with him that I didn't finish, and I can blame just on myself, because he's really good at finishing stuff. I know that it's like it hasn't been done and finished because of me. I'm the one to blame. And it feels so good that we finally did something that I managed to finish and put it out there. And it feels so good just to finish things, and I just need to,
even if it's not as finished as you wish for, is it I mean, maybe just for the purpose of it, if it's just an experiment and you just want to try some new stuff, then it doesn't really have to be like a huge finished deal. It can just be, okay, that's it, this is it. And that's yeah, that's more maybe satisfying to share that than to spend years trying to to finish something. I get it. I think every creative goes through that. Like there is never good enough. It's never.
Yeah, man, it's like we create so much unnecessary pressure, and that's why we don't finish things because like, oh, this has to be the best thing I've ever done, and then who said that? Why do we keep telling this to ourselves that it has to be the best thing? No, maybe it's just a crappy thing that you're just experimenting and having fun with, and not everything that we do has to be amazing.
Exactly. No, it's actually, this brings me to the next question that I had, because it's about this. I wanted to know what you think about this paradox of that what you do has to be the most important thing in the world to you while you are creating it, because that way you can live a artistically fulfilled life and all of this. But then at the same time, once you put it out there, once it's done, it must not mean anything at all to you, and you just drop it and say, okay, so you can live sane, like a sane person. So I love this, because we all go through this, and every time we create something, it's our baby, and we want to protect it, and nobody sees them yet, because, and it's so stupid. It's just put it out there, and it's not yours anymore. People are going to share it, people are going to do stuff with it, so just forget about it. But while you are making it, it has to be the most important thing, so you can enjoy it, right? Or I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I've been thinking a lot lately, especially because like the latest projects that I've been working on have been just like very personal projects. And oh, did we lose each other?
No, no, it's fine.
No? Okay, it's back. But yeah, but it's just something I've been thinking a lot lately because the latest projects that I've been doing have been very, just personal passion projects and or projects that I had loads of creative freedom. And it's, the quality of the results is so different. And it just it makes I kind of get upset about it because like, oh, what's the thing that once we have like a brief that doesn't give us enough creative freedom, or maybe it's just a client reaching out, what's the thing, what's the wrong knob that it turns on us that suddenly things are not as good as they should be. And of course, like, sometimes when you get a difficult client that maybe doesn't have the same taste or the same vision as you. Like we all have been there that, oh shit, this client killed this job. Uh, we've all been there. We know how it feels. But I don't know. I think there's a component of having fun and being able to play with it and following your instincts very, very on a very fluid, organic way that happens when we don't have those many boundaries. That I think is like how that's what I've been thinking a lot lately. Like how can I bring this and translate this and try to find this like element of fun and playfulness and joy and this instinctive, and try to convince clients about this instinctive side of it, but on real client pay jobs.
Well, it's hard, because yeah, always when you're working for a client, it's always about their message and their story or what they want to say. So it's always hard to. Well, it's just you have to become really good at listening what they really want, and translate that into your work. But it's also maybe it's also nice to remind them why they chose you for that job. Like you have to be able to express your style, because that's why. But not all clients are like that. They are just looking for an animator. They don't even see styles or I don't know, visions.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that modern style, I guess for me, is more like also having the client or being able to convince the client, like, hey, this you chose me because you believe that I have a certain sensibility to talk about this and this, or like to bring these messages up. So trust me a little bit on this as well. Like, I think this is gonna be a lighter message or a lighter way to convey this message, or a more humorous way, and yeah, but it's definitely like it's one of the hardest things, and I guess no one has a specific answer to it. It's like it's just finding the balance with those things.
It's just yeah, and it depends a lot on the job and the situation. But yeah, it's a balance, definitely. And Yeah, communication skills, I think.
Yes, definitely communication skills and yeah, being able to convince your clients and all of that. But yeah, tough stuff.
All right, so changing a bit the subject, I would like you to talk a bit about Pune animation. So, for those who don't know, can you tell us what it is and how it came to be?
Yes. So print animation is, I guess we like to call it like just this multi-platform community for women, trans, and non-binaries working within the motion and animation industries. And yeah, I mean, we started in 2015. Me, Lynn Fritz, and Hedvig Aurbeg. And so Hedvig and I, we studied together at Hyper. And when I came to London, we were living together. And I think like how the whole thing started, it was, I mean, we've been always talking, we've been having very similar experiences like early in our careers that every studio that we would step in, we would be mostly the only girls. Like the other girls would be producers. And yeah, just going through a couple of things on of being on male dominated environments really, and getting frustrated about those things. And then like I remember like feeling like, I would love to see more work done by women and have a space to see all of those things and I don't know, put them all together. And then I remember speaking to Hedvig like, oh, what if we made like a Tumblr, like a, I don't know, like girl power gifs or something, I don't know. And then she was like, oh, but what if it was like punanimation? Because like our class at Hyper had something with the word punani. It was everywhere for some reason. A very used slang. And then like when she said that, like punanimation, I was like, oh, this is amazing. I love it. Perfect. And then like I think like just a couple of weeks afterwards, really, we met Lynn. Lynn wrote me on Behance, like, "Hey, I'm in London. Do you wanna, I don't know, get to know each other and grab beers and stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah." So we met, and then I brought her over to my place. So Hedwig met her as well, and we all became like instant friends. And yeah, and every time we would meet, we would be talking about those things and sharing our frustrations. And then I guess at a certain point we kind of like had enough of just complaining about things, and we're like, well, can we do something more? I don't know, something solid to change it rather than just complain about it. And then yeah, and then that's, I guess that we figure out that it was really really good just to be able to talk to other women about it and feel like validated about the things that we were feeling and our frustrations and all of that, or even like show what we were doing and get feedback from each other. Like all of those exchanges were so valuable. So our first thought was like, well, let's we have this, which is amazing, with the three of us. Let's amplify it and connect more women that are also doing animation and emotion and all of that. So we started the Facebook group, the three of us, but then we started to invite our friends, and then our friends started to invite their friends, and so the whole thing just grew like very very organically. And yeah, and like it shaped itself to be like such a awesome vivid environment really, because in the beginning I remember like the three of us, we would post a lot, like just to try to get a little bit of traction and like, hey, look at this video, it's so cool, blah blah blah, and sharing stuff and starting conversations. But nowadays, like, it's hard for me to follow up what's happening because so many posts like every day, and
Yeah, it's huge.
yeah, it's honestly for me it's impossible to keep up. It's a lot of stuff happening all the time, and people asking questions and how do I price for this, or what do you guys think about this that I did, and asking feedback. So it's,
Yeah, but it's already like taking care of each other.
yeah, that's the thing, is like it's a really self perpetuating kind of like space, and it's just beautiful to watch really. I'm It's really heartwarming and amazing.
And what do you think? Because when I talk to people about this, yeah, about food animation, like there's some people who may argue that it's not okay to exclude male talent. And although this is a bit funny, I can understand why the question comes up. Because yeah, it's just like why would you like why not make it about everyone? And I just think it's about shining a light on all these minorities, and it's not about if the worker is good or bad. It's just about showing people that, because we've always been there doing animation, but it's just not like brought up to the public. I don't know how to say this, but yeah. So what do you think about that? If somebody have you encountered this kind of question?
Yeah, I mean, all the time. And I think a lot of different things. First, I think that this is not the fanciest solution, like excluding a group. I mean, it's not the way that I think about it in the beginning. I think more like it's kind of like grouping your specific peers rather than excluding. But I do see that it can be seen as exclusion as well. I don't think it's the fanciest solution, but I do think it's the best one we came up with so far. Just to like, because I think that specifically, the group has such an amazing purpose of building up the confidence. Like I've been, that this is an industry that is very much towards, community building, and there's so many Facebook groups and Slack channels and all of that. And I've been to so many of them, like Slack channels, but they're all like filled with guys, and I feel personally like still feel like very intimidated about posting something there, and honest immediately just getting judged. And I don't know, it just feels like that pen animation is a safer space to share all of those things, and it's extremely supportive, and all of that. And I think that the group has that first kind of goal, like building up the confidence. And I also think, like the motion industry is already a boys club, but it's not like a self-proclaimed and open, like, hey, we are a boys club. And yeah, at least like we're a club, but we're being very open about it. We're not pretending to be something else at any point. Like, yeah, this is a club, and this is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, but it's also a bit what we talked about last time, that um, I mean, right now is necessary. Like, hopefully, eventually, won't be necessary anymore to have these clubs, because it will be more equal or more balanced.
Yeah,
Right now,
just
it's really important, and it's really necessary to because of this the representation and the exposure of these minorities. That you see something made by a woman, by another woman, or whatever, and then you feel, oh, that's very cool. I can do that as well. And maybe you're not even a professional yet, but you're seeing this and you're studying animation, and you feel like there's a space for you in the industry. So I really think it's just really valuable. So thank you for creating that space.
oh, thank you. No, I mean it's what I told you as well. Like the last time we spoke, that I in my head the ultimate goal was that pen animation would self-destroy. It would come to like a point that this doesn't make sense anymore. Like it actually became a excluding platform rather than this like space for people to gather and create, confidence and strength. It becomes like kind of like, hey guys, this is kind of sucky that we are like excluding the boys because this actually became a, really really big, and there's no reason for it to exist anymore. I would love, that would be the dream, that porn animation makes no sense existing.
It will happen eventually. I hope so.
Yeah, and look, I think I told you this. Like, I was once at this off festival. Uh, there was this amazing woman called Madame Gandhi, and she was playing drums. She's like percussionist, singer. She's just like the coolest woman ever. And I saw her playing live, playing the drums, like, and she's just like, she's so cool. Her hair is amazing and fabulous, and she's like super warm, chilled personality, and she is an insane musician. And she was playing, and while she was playing, I guess because like I never seen that many women playing the drums, or at least like live as well. And then I saw that, and like I play a couple of instruments, all very poorly, but I never really like considered playing drums. And then when I look at that, I was like, wait, it was like this kind of like just a possibility opened up. Like, hey, you can play drums if you want as well. And And I was like, wait, drums is interesting.
It's the representation what's important, you know, that
Yeah.
to see yourself reflected in somebody else. It's just in every aspect, you know, of life. It's very important to yeah, have people out there just yeah, talking about this different subjects or talking about these different ideas. So yeah, it's very important.
Definitely.
And well, now finishing up a bit, wrapping it up. What are you working on right now, and what are your plans for the near future?
So now I just finished that project with my husband. Also finished a little thing for Snapchat last week. I'm actually in between stuff. Not doing anything. No, but just wrapping up. Organizing files, figuring out what I'm gonna do for the following weeks. Uh, there might be. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to jinx it, but there might be more chances for directing this year. So that would be really fun if it actually happens. But I just want to keep expectations low because you never know. That would be really really fun. But we'll see what's gonna happen, and hopefully trying to make a lot more room for just playing around with things and doing personal projects. Really, I think like last year I went to Brazil for a month and a half for vacations, and I always end up making the mistake of bringing work to Brazil. But that was the first time I didn't bring any work to Brazil, and I actually took like a month and a half, which is super privileged. Took a month and a half off, and I think it was like I don't know why it took me so long as well, just to realize how much I needed the break and how much the break did me well, and just understanding that you don't have to be working like crazy all the time. Who said that? Who said that you have to be that your worth is in working nonstop? And actually, like, I feel that after that break, my work, I just feel like 300 times more motivated and wanting what I want to work on and more energized. And the work that I've been doing has been better since I came back and all of that. So I think it was important to, like, it was kind of like almost like a shock therapy. Like, okay, you're not gonna work for a month and a half. How are you gonna deal with that? But it worked, like I loved it. I didn't miss working.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just we tend to forget that in just this modern world that makes us feel that we need to be busy, busy all the time. But yeah, it's good to find that.
And maybe that leads for me to me like having a simpler life, because if you work less, maybe you're gonna make less money. But who says that we need this amount of stuff as well, that we are led to believe that we need? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about that lately, like having less things, just fewer but better kind of clothes, and just, yeah, living a bit more simple and enjoying life a bit more, rather than just spend, I don't know, 2/3 of it, or no, way more than 2/3 of it working. But anyway, you get.
Yeah, no, no, that's amazing. Yeah, it's something to think about for 2019 for sure.
Yes, those are the vibes.
Yeah, awesome. And the last question is I asked everyone a bit about if you have some advice for younger creatives that are just starting out, and especially if people who want to pursue a freelance career in the creative world. Yeah, what would you advise them?
I guess so. Yeah, for I guess for freelancers, I would never advise anyone to just start freelancing straight away, because I think it's so much like valuable insights and learnings and knowledge that you can get by working at a studio with people who are way better and more experienced than you are. Like, just from all the internships that I've been through, I learned so much about, I don't know, even file organizing, like the way that I name my files and the folders and all of that, and client contact, like all of those things that I would be a total noob, and I would have made 1,000 more mistakes if I didn't watch people better than me doing it before. Because then you're just like taking mental notes, like, this is really smart, and like, oh yeah, of course, like this is such a better way of organizing things, and you just incorporate those things when you're freelancing afterwards. So I definitely, just go be with smarter people than you first, because that's a way smarter move as well. And yeah, I guess general advice for creatives would be, I don't know, and advice for myself as well is just remember to still play with it, and have fun with what you're doing, and or try to find windows that you can have fun with things, because like it's we kind of lose a hobby when we start working with it, and we forget the reasons why we got into making it to begin with. So it's, I guess we need like constant reminders of why we started doing this to begin with. And if none of the things that you're doing are fun and are fulfilling you or challenging you to learn new things or to explore things, then it feels a bit pointless to be doing it just for the sake of like, pleasing other people. Yeah? Is that good enough?
Yeah, no, that's amazing. But what did you do to keep yourself, to remind yourself of why you started to do this in the first place?
Yeah, I guess those things, personal projects, and I try to pick clients that I've been trying to be a bit more selective about my clients, and work for companies that I believe in, or not choosing not to work for companies that I don't believe in. Like I turned down jobs for things that I don't believe in, like McDonald's or Coca-Cola and those things, because I don't want, my work to make the world a bit more horrible. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's those things. It's the fine line of, yeah, trying to keep yourself sane, trying to keep yourself still finding joy in whatever it is that you do. I think that like sometimes when projects kind of start to get killed by the client, there's always the challenge of, okay, how can I still find joy in this project? And maybe you just focus, just try to focus on the things that spark you joy. Is it like you really want to nail the way that this character is moving, or you're really having fun with the process of animating that fire cycle, or I don't know. It's trying to connect with the bits of the project that still brings you joy, really. So I guess it goes a little bit case by case, but I guess that's a general thing that I try to do. Like no matter what the project is bringing me, and not every project is a wonderful cake of amazingness and joy. So I just try to get, oh, maybe it's the icing that is really nice. So I just try to savor the icing as much as I can. Or maybe it's like there's like 2 strawberries on top of a horrible cake, and maybe I just focus on the strawberries.
That's very good advice, actually. So yeah, awesome. All right, Lee, well, thank you so much. Again, I will share all your contacts and social media after this, and yeah, I hope to talk to you again soon for something else.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah.